guys. Sorry, just trying to get a good angle here. And I just want to say I'm really sorry for the bad quality of this camera. I need to get some better live stream equipment so I can stream from my professional camera, but webcam on my computer is what I'm using for now. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. Today we are talking about what diet is best for you for permanent weight loss, okay? So if you're someone who has tried to lose weight and you find that you're just struggling to stay consistent and struggling to actually keep it off, maybe you've lost some weight in the past, but you're really just never able to sustain the weight loss. So chances are you really haven't found the best style of eating that's going to work best for you, right? Because under ideal conditions, losing weight and staying on a healthy diet and a calorie deficit should be relatively easy. And when I say easy, I mean, you shouldn't be having massive cravings. You shouldn't feel hungry all the time. You shouldn't feel low energy. You should feel full, satisfied, and energized, right? Because that's sustainable. If you feel hungry all the time, if you feel overly restricted, you're not going to be able to sustain it long term, right? Yeah. So there, and also this can also come down to some other weight loss obstacles. Can be, say, a hormonal imbalance. So if you find that you did find a style of eating that worked for you, but you were still having tons of cravings, or you just weren't losing weight, this could be a hormonal imbalance, right? It can be something that is creating chronic inflammation in your body, like an infection. So these can be weight loss obstacles as well. But today I just want to explore different types of diets that you can follow and experiment with to find out what is really going to work best for you and how you're going to feel your best, because everyone is a biochemical individual. We all have different needs at different times in our life. And, there can be times when one style of eating really works really well for you, and then other times where it's just not going to work for you anymore and you need to make a little bit of a change, right? I'm just going to adjust my light here for a second. Shadow on one side of my face. Anyways, okay, so chances are if you tried to lose weight, you were probably following a high protein, moderate carb, low fat diet. So this is a performance-based diet macro breakdown. This is going to, what you find if you're doing a bodybuilding competition, or most advice that you find online around weight loss, right? So it's going to be higher in carbs, lower in fat, and high in protein. Now, I find that this macro ratio is excellent for lifting weights, right? More carbohydrates is great for lifting weights. You're going to have more energy, more power. And also carbohydrates are great for building muscle, right? So I find that I have the most energy for lifting weights on that kind of a diet. Also, if your body is very inflamed, there's something that is creating chronic inflammation. Starting out with a diet that is higher in carbohydrates can work really well, okay? I've had some clients where we tried to start them out on a low carb diet and they just didn't lose weight. And then as soon as we start increasing carbohydrates, lowering the fat, all of a sudden they start losing weight, okay? And then also, if you're someone who is under a ton of stress and you have a tendency to have anxiety, you're stressed out, maybe you're overdoing caffeine, maybe you're building a business, maybe you're a busy professional, then sometimes more carbs can work really well because carbohydrates are going to help to calm down your nervous system. Okay, you're probably going to feel more relaxed. So that's kind of one set of macro ratios. So that's going to be 20 to 30% fat, 30 to 40% carbohydrates, 25 to 35% protein. And a great tool that you can use to track this is downloading MyFitnessPal and then start creating like your meals for the day. And then you can actually look at what your macro percentages are for different macros. And then you can experiment that way. Or you can just hire me and I will take all of the thinking out of it. And you'll be able to just take action because I figure this stuff out for you. And then we also experiment with different macro ratios, find out what works best for you from a weight loss perspective, how you feel your best, right? So that is one set of macro ratios, okay? Next, so more of, say, a keto macro ratio. So that's going to look like 5% carbs, 25% protein, 70% fat. So those are strict keto macros. I find, so that's going to be low carb, high fat, moderate protein diet. And this is when we start shifting into being a fat burner, like burning fat as fuel rather than using carbohydrates primarily as fuel. And keto can be excellent for periods of time for some people. It can be it can be very therapeutic for periods of time for some people. This can be excellent for improving like infections in the gut, which are very common, right? Killing bad bacteria. It's also excellent for keeping you full, right? The fat is so satiating that you don't need to eat as often. So that can be really nice too. If you're someone who has a desk job, if you're someone who doesn't have a ton of time to work out, maybe just half an hour a day, then keto diet can be excellent, right? You don't need to eat as often. You're very satiated. It keeps insulin levels low. Your body's not going to be holding as much water, right? Because insulin stays low. Is when you're eating more carbohydrates, you have more insulin in your body, and then you hold more water, right? So that can be a nice thing. When you flush water out of your body, it's instantly going to make you look leaner. So that can be really beneficial for some people, right? But then if you're finding that you're not losing weight on that diet, you're not feeling your best, then maybe starting out increasing the carbs and then kind of lowering the carbs later on and seeing if that works well. But it really just comes down to experimenting, right? If it's not working for you, you switch it up. But you want to give it like 21 days or a month to figure that out, right? But then also, a lot of the time I'm eating a lower carb diet and not eating a ton of starchy carbs. But I don't necessarily follow those strict keto macros. I will have more protein and a little bit less fat and a little bit more carbs, right? Usually in the form of like coconut meat or nuts or avocado, because those are the kind of higher carb fat sources, right? And you can still get a ton of weight loss benefits and also health benefits from following that. So it's not quite as strict as keto, but of course, doing strict keto is going to have its own therapeutic benefits, where you have ketones in your blood, which is excellent for brain function. It gives you super mental clarity and just the gut health benefits, right? Because what can happen is if we are eating higher protein on those keto diets, what happens is your body actually starts to convert the protein into sugar, and then we get these excess byproducts that kind of put stress on our liver. So we want to be careful with that also. But it's definitely something to experiment with to see if it feels right for you, right? And then other diets, there's the vegetarian diet, there's the carnivore diet where you're only eating meat. So this is a therapeutic diet. This can be really beneficial for someone with a lot of gut health issues, right? It really doesn't give a lot of fuel for bad bacteria to live in. Definitely something that I wouldn't say following long-term, but it can be therapeutic for a period of time. Same with keto, right? If you're following a keto diet, cycling in and out of it. Some people will do like a higher carb day once a week, or keto for a month, go off of it for 2 weeks. Again, I think it's important to cycle on and off of it because thyroid hormones do need, insulin to convert. So that's why it's important to kind of, have some higher carb days or to cycle on and off of it if that is something that you do want to try out. Some people are going to feel amazing going vegetarian, right? All of a sudden, there's less pressure on their liver. They feel better. They lose weight, right? It's also something you want to try. But with vegetarian diets, you want to make sure you're getting enough protein because it does have a tendency to become like a high carb, high fat diet, which I don't find to be best for weight loss. And if you're not getting enough protein, you are instantly going to be craving carbs and sugar. And it could even create blood sugar instability, right? Where you're on this blood sugar roller coaster where you feel cranky and irritable before it's time to eat. And then that's putting a lot of pressure and stress on your body that you want to avoid. So if you're finding you're waking up in the morning or between meals, you feel dizzy, like hangry, like, oh my God, I need to eat right now, I have a headache, that's a sign that you are living on a blood sugar roller coaster. And I highly recommend you increase your protein, increase your fat. You have what I call a big ass breakfast for breakfast, where you have a high fat, high protein breakfast with lots of veggies, and that you're making sure that you're getting enough protein per day to stabilize your blood sugar. Really important. Okay. Also, intermittent fasting is another option. This works well for a lot of people. There are hormonal benefits to this, increasing human growth hormone, increasing GH, which are both great for anti-aging and burning fat. Fasting, also eating within a small window, is going to activate something called autophagy, which means your body goes into this cleaning process where it starts to eat old damaged cells. So it's very anti-aging. It's super healthy, right? So intermittent fasting is an option. So with intermittent fasting, basically you're going to choose an eating window, which is generally going to be 6 or 8 hours. So say you start eating at 11 and you finish eating at 7 p.m., or you could do 6 hours, start eating at 12 and eating at 6. That's another option, right? And it can be beneficial to do, well, it depends how you feel. Like I said, everyone's different, but eating more fat and protein, keeping your starchy carbs around your workout, before and after your workout, right? And then that can be excellent because it's pretty easy to get into ketosis with intermittent fasting. You get used to it. You're like, okay, if you have a problem with nighttime eating, implementing intermittent fasting can be great because you're just making a decision. You're like, okay, I'm done eating at 6. That's it. When I am not eating, I am fasting, right? So that's a good way to cut out nighttime eating because there's nothing worse for your weight loss journey than eating before bed. And because when you're going to bed, you want your body to be focused on detoxification, not on digestion, right? So intermittent fasting is something you can experiment with. Like you really need something in the morning, 11 or 12 to eat, but you do want to do intermittent fasting, you could do something fat and collagen drink. So something like quality coffee or matcha, mixing that with collagen protein and fats. That could be ghee and coconut oil. With the matcha or coffee, you blend it up, collagen protein, and then you have a little bit of fuel first thing in the morning. And then you have your first meal at, say, 12. So that's another way to kind of transition into intermittent fasting if you want to try that. But yeah, that can be really healthy, really anti-aging, excellent for your body and for long-term weight loss, okay? And then, yeah, I'm a big fan of an anti-inflammatory diet, right? So kind of minimizing grains and dairy and sugar and just sticking to whole foods, right? Good quality, pastured animal protein, wild fish, right? Organic, second best. Lots of veggies, right? Lots of green veggies with all of your meals, salads, steamed green vegetables, roasted veggies, and then healthy fats, avocado, coconut oil, ghee, grass-fed butter, excellent. What else? Fermented foods, sauerkraut. I eat sauerkraut with almost all of my vegetables, with all of my meals, right? And then eating things like bone broth is super healthy. If you've never heard of that, it's amazing for your gut health. It's full of minerals, super healthy. So that's generally how I eat. And that has allowed me to stay lean. Like I'm maintaining 15% body fat relatively easily. And it didn't used to be easy for me. I used to lose weight for bikini competitions and then I would balloon back up, to 155 pounds. And I just found weight loss difficult. But when I really learned how to focus on a diet and lifestyle that reduces inflammation, that reduces exposure to chemicals in my food, water, and air supply, drinking clean water, wild fish, pastured antibiotic-free animal products, organic vegetables, sauerkraut, it changed my ability to lose weight and keep it off. Now it's easy, whereas before it used to be difficult. So yeah, and this is available for you too. So if you haven't figured it out yet, it's just you need to refine things and experiment and let how you feel be your guide, right? You should feel good. It should be relatively easy to lose weight if you find what's best for your body, and then also working on, improving your hormonal health and reducing inflammation. And if this is just confusing for you and you feel frustrated, then getting some support from a nutritionist, hiring a coach who can really teach you and map things out for you so you don't need to think, you can just take action. And then, something's not working, you have someone who has experience with this to make adjustments for you to help you figure out what's best for you. So of course, that's what I do. If you're interested in learning more about my coaching services, please email me. My email is in the description box below, and you can also grab my free guide, Perfect Plate Planning. This is going to teach you how to pair foods together at meal times to increase your energy, reduce cravings, lose weight, and stay that way permanently. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.